If you run an ecom brand, you only need 5 Klaviyo flows to double or even triple your email revenue. All the fancy hyper segmentation or testing small details and the complex flows come after this. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build each of these flows inside your Klaviyo account, how many emails you need in these flows, and then when to send each one. My name is Dalton. I run an email and SMS marketing agency called Newsy, and we take ecom brands from barely making any money at all to doing well over 6 figures per month. And that's where these 5 email flows play a significant role. And honestly, you don't need someone else to do this for you. If you've got an afternoon and nothing else that's got an ROI of like 100K per hour, you can get this knocked out in a day. So let's get into it. So when somebody signs up for your email list, the first thing that they engage with is your welcome flow. That's flow number 1. If they start checking out products on your site, but don't add anything to cart, they'll then be put through your browse abandonment flow. That's flow number 2. If they add something to cart, but don't go to your checkout page, they'll be put into the abandoned cart flow. Flow number 3. Now, after this, there's a bonus flow that I'm going to tell you about later in the video. And it honestly takes less work than any of these other flows, but is totally worth setting up. Now, once we get somebody to actually purchase, they'll be put into the post-purchase flow, which is flow number 4. And finally, if somebody stops engaging with our emails over time, they'll be put into the sunset flow, which is flow number 5. So essentially what we've done here is set a foundation that covers the entire customer journey from start to finish. So let's deep dive into flow number 1, the welcome flow. Oftentimes on YouTube, you'll see people leave the best stuff for last. But for you, I want to make sure that if you see anything in this video, it's the welcome flow, because it is by far the most important flow you will ever build. It's the only time someone is this excited about your brand. They just gave you their email and they want to hear from you. Their intent is sky high. Seriously, if you mess up the welcome flow, you're wasting the highest intent window you have with your subscribers. Real quick, before we dive into the actual flow, if you're an ecom brand owner and the idea of building all these flows by yourself sounds like a lot of work, and you'd rather just have me look at your account and do this work for you, the link below in the description is to book a free strategy call with me. I'll audit your brand, find the bottlenecks that are keeping you from growing your email revenue, and my promise is to give you at least 3 to 5 quick wins that you can easily implement yourself that will add a few extra $1,000s per month to your email revenue. So best case scenario, we end up working together and we boost your brand by 30 or 40%. And the worst case scenario is that an email marketing expert reviews your setup and you get a bunch of awesome tips that will help you boost revenue on your own. So click the link below to book a call now. All right, let's build the first flow. Okay, so here we are with the first flow, the welcome flow. And real quick, what I want you to know is that this is a bit more complex of a flow that we've built for a client, and you by no means have to do all of this. The reason I'm showing you this one is because it has so many different examples of what you could do, but I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. So out of all these, really what I would recommend is to pick 4. And then what you'll do is immediately whenever somebody signs up, you send the first one, and then every day after that, you'll send another one. And you'll start with email number 1, and we'll dive deep into each one of these, but you'll start with email number 1, and then you'll end with this email right here, which is the 8th email here. For you to be number 4, or if you want to add more, 5, 6, whatever. But you end with this one, and I'll tell you why in a second. So let's dive in quickly. Email number 1. So most of the time with our pop-up forms, we're going to be having some sort of incentive to get people to add themselves to the email list. It'll also help with conversion rate, getting them to order, but really we want their email. And so sometimes it'll be 20% off. Sometimes it'll be a free gift. Sometimes, there are a lot of different offers. For this brand, we did a mystery discount, which we then revealed in the welcome flow. So the first thing you do on email number 1 is you give them what they wanted. Don't add any extra friction. Don't make it really low, just put it right at the top. And this is the fashion in which you'll do it. You'll do a hero. It can be welcome to your brand. It can be, this one's we're happy you're here. To prove it, we're giving you 20% off first order. Make sure that the code is easy to see, and then a big CTA. And you want this all above the fold. So note that this is, here, let me get the actual dimension, or note that this is, within 830 pixels. So they don't have to scroll to see this. If it were lower than this, they'd have to scroll, and then you're going to lose a lot of traffic on that. Next, for this brand, we decided to add a bit of context as to who they are. We A/B tested this, and this performed better. People actually read this. A lot of the times they won't. And so you can either make a small, probably recommend something like this big or smaller, or if you wanted to, you could go straight into a product section like this. So actually, if you wanted to, you could potentially cut this section here and just start right here and do something like this, where you'll have a product section, so that not only do they have a discount, but they have a bunch of things that they can spend their money on along with the discount. Email 1 is probably a mandatory email that you probably shouldn't vary from very much. This one is very important. It's very simple, and you're going to get most of your conversions on this email. On email number 2, we've got a reminder of the incentive, whether it's a free gift or a discount or whatever it may be. Buy one, get one free, blah, blah, blah. And then what we do is we tell the story of the brand. And so this is like the most copy heavy email that we run pretty much anytime in the flows or in campaigns. And what we want to do is if they didn't convert based on value alone or value proposition, we want to give them some insight on who we are. And then at the end, another reminder of the incentive. And you really want to end most of your emails with a reminder like this so that if they make it all the way down, they have somewhere to click. And if not, they've got your footer as well. Next in this email, notice in all these emails at the top, we are reminding people of the incentive. If you want to put something else in here, you can put a banner over the top, either in Klaviyo or as you build it in Figma. That's just basically saying, hey, you've got 20% off, use this code. And this one, email number 3, what we like to do is make it, this is FUDs, that's fear, uncertainty, doubt, or it could be objection handling, risk reversal. They all mean very similar things. What they are is helping people jump over hurdles that they may have, questions that they don't have answered, or just uncertainties about, is your product legit? Do they know your brand? What kind of guarantees do you have? Are there reviews that you can show people to convince them that you're legit and that people have gone in front of them and have had a good experience? So this one right here, we just did an FAQ section that looks like, an SMS or some sort of like text message conversation. So it's like, this is sewing machine cases. Will it fit my machine and supplies? Well, yeah. And then we also have a size guide. Is it durable? Of course, every detail is built strong. What if it doesn't work for me? We've got a 30-day stress-free return policy. If it's not the perfect fit, we'll make it right. That's a promise. And then notice CTAs at every turn, little buttons for them to click everywhere. And then these are good to have. You don't have to make it a GIF. Let me show you real quick. But having emblems like this throughout your flows, especially as we get into the abandonment flows, these are going to be very, very helpful. And you'll notice a lot of this actually gets used inside the abandonment flows as well. Why? Because they're super compelling. They answer people's questions and convince them to buy. And so even though it might feel redundant whenever it's all on the same Figma document, whenever people are getting these emails potentially weeks apart, it doesn't really feel that redundant to them. And then right down here, the last thing we have is like, if you need support, if you have a question or a concern, we believe that it's worth our time to invest in the relationship between the brand and the customers. And so while I personally don't answer these emails, we make sure that every brand has the opportunity to engage one-on-one with their customers. Next, this is something that, you probably don't need to have if you're trying to keep things short and sweet. We did it because we have the time, we've tested this, and this one actually does pretty well. This is just a simple discount push. This is a reminder of the incentive, and that's it. Then right here, we have a Klaviyo dynamic block. This is just pictures in Figma, but you can enter this in, and it'll actually show people based on what you want them to see, recommended products or things that they've browsed in the past or your best sellers. Email number 5 is testimonials. So remember, we've got the incentive right there. And then down here, we've just got testimonials showing that people have purchased this before and it's legit and people like it. This is a piece of content that I would recommend throwing as much as you can into all of these emails, because reviews and testimonials always work better than, mind-blowing copy. If you got the best copy, the best design, a good testimonial will work way better. And so if you have them, use them as much as you can. And then these last 2 emails, we basically have a mix of all of these put together. We just lengthen the flow. And really, I don't think there's much to go over here. And then this is the other non-negotiable. You need to have this. So right here, we have a last chance reminder, plain text email from the founder. And this is going to look way different than what they're used to getting from your brand and from other brands in their inbox. Most brands in 2026 aren't using this. I will say more brands are starting to use it because it works so well. And so if you're not implementing this, you better start, because brands are catching up. Basically what we do here is we establish a relationship. We remind of the discount, remind of the offer, and we add urgency. See how it says we got another 24 hours. And before this, we probably added urgency. It's like, hey, last chance. And then what this says is we've left it open for you. So no pressure. Whenever you're all set, click right here, head back to the store and pick out something special for yourself. And if you want to, you can add a PS section to a support email or to contact the brand. Also, something that we've seen work well is if you have some sort of outlet store, some sort of like discount page, adding it in the PS section. Say something like, hey, this discount also stacks with our outlets, which has items from 30 to 50% off already. So check that out. And sometimes that's the thing that'll get somebody if they're really budget sensitive. So like I said, I just recommend picking 4 or 5 emails from that setup and implementing them into your welcome flow. Now, I've got a full deep dive of the welcome flow on my channel. Just click on the top right corner of this video or the link in the description if you want to check that out. Now we're on to flow number 2, the browse abandonment flow. Browse abandonment is one of those flows that a lot of brands sleep on, but it's actually often one of the top 3 revenue driving flows for our brands. So the welcome flow and the abandoned cart flows do a lot of the heavy lifting, but the browse abandonment fills the gap in between, and sometimes that gap can be pretty wide. And that gap consists of someone who is interested enough to look at the product, but not interested enough to add it to cart. So in your content, if you hit people with risk reversals, objection handling, and then showing them alternative products just in case they weren't interested in the one that they looked at, this is easily going to be one of your highest converting flows for sure. All right, so here we are. Let's take a look at the browse abandonment flow. So this is going to be, 4 emails is what I'd recommend. We found that 4 emails across the board works really well. And so even in this example, I don't have options. I'm just showing you pretty much exactly what we do for most of our brands. And what you'll see is that a lot of the content is very similar to the welcome flow as far as we have testimonials, we have product options, we've got FAQs, we've got objection handling and risk reversals. Let me see. Yeah, we've got little banners like that. And then we finish with a plain text email. So as you can see here, we've got testimonials, we've got FAQs, we've got product sections to show alternatives, and then we have our plain text email. So let's roll through this. Now, these little gaps right here are going to be where we put the Klaviyo dynamic block that will show them the product that they were looking at that triggered this flow. As you can see here, we just made this a fun little way to have the email flow seamlessly. We can change the color of the dynamic section in Klaviyo. And so we just made it fun and cool. Anyways, here we go. Something catch your eye. This is just a reminder. We're not giving them an incentive right off the bat. For these abandonment flows, we need to make sure they're an actual abandonment before offering some sort of incentive. And so the first thing we need to do is see, did they just forget? Like if someone's buying coffee, maybe they're tired. Maybe they're not able to focus. Maybe they're a mom and their kid just peed on the carpet or something like that. I don't know. But maybe sometimes they just need a reminder. They just need an email to say, hey, you were looking at this, you should take a look. So we show them the product, give them a CTA to keep shopping, and then we just got testimonials right here to show that our coffee's awesome, or our brand, or our product is awesome. And then a final CTA right here. We'll send this a few hours after they abandon browse session. The next day, we're gonna do the exact same thing. In here, we have a built-in CTA in the Klaviyo dynamic section. So we don't have one here, but gave a little bit of context. And this is also saying, don't wait too long. It's very popular at the moment. So we add a little bit of urgency, but nothing crazy. We throw in a testimonial here and then an FAQ. How fresh is the coffee? Can I subscribe? What brewing method do you recommend? We also have a brew guide on the website. If nothing really floats their boat, we have a footer section in all of these with some little emblems here, 100% satisfaction guarantee, easy returns, and there you go, whole shebang. Now for email number 3, this is where we introduce some sort of incentive or discount. It can be free shipping, it could be a discount, it could be a free item, whatever it is. If you're willing to spend a little bit of your margin to get them to actually make the purchase, this is where we would do it, because we now know they didn't just forget, they actually abandoned. So we offer this here right at the very top in the hero section. We show them the item that they abandoned, and then we just give some simple best sellers. So they've already seen, ideally they've already seen testimonials. And then at the bottom, we have a reminder of the incentive. Then email number 4, we have an email from the founder or somebody on your team. And this is very similar to the welcome flow, where it's just giving a little bit of backstory to the brand, and then reminding them of their discount and that they should use it. And then we've got one simple CTA to their website to order. Thanks for rolling with us, Basecamp. And then same here, you can add a PS section if you want to, whether it's just another reiteration of the offer that it's expiring soon, or if you have another way that they could get more value on your site. So real quick on Klaviyo, if you hop into your flow section, there's actually a browse abandonment template. That's really good. And for all these abandonment flows, I recommend using the templates. So all you'll have to do is, as you want, you can clone these time delays. You can make it a day or 2 days, whatever. I recommend just 1 day at a time. So you wait a couple hours, test this out, and then you can, do a day at a time. And the reason that we want to use the template is because it actually comes with the Klaviyo dynamic content already built in. So this Klaviyo account isn't linked to any specific brand. And so I'm not able to show you exactly what it would look like because it's not linked to anything. But rather than going and building this out yourself with all the right coding and everything, they have it preset. And so I'd recommend doing that. And you can build this out on your own, either in Klaviyo or in Figma. And then basically what you would do is you would clone, get it all lined up the way that you want. And then for the last email, you want it to be a plain text email. All you would do is you would go change template again, and then go text only. And from there, it'll take you to the text editor and you can type whatever you want to do. And there you have it, a high converting browse abandonment flow. And so real quick, the trigger is very straightforward. It's already built into the template, but just in case you need to build it, it is when somebody viewed product and then profile filters are they haven't started checkout, they haven't placed order. And I would say also add to this, they haven't added to cart. So that'd be something that I would add real quick. If someone has or hasn't done, person has at cart. Oh my gosh, I just realized this account does not have that metric built in because it's not connected to Shopify. So there's an added to cart Shopify metric that you would need to add here. Has added to cart 0 times since starting flow. And so you'd have all of these. Checkout started, placed order, added to cart. And that's how you have a correctly built browse abandonment flow. So as you can see here, the angle isn't just like, we need to convince you to buy this product, buy now. What we're actually doing is giving them options. We're definitely helping them understand the brand and understand that we're legit, handle objections, but we're also giving them many options because whatever the product they viewed was, at this point in time, we can assume that it wasn't what they wanted enough for them to add to cart. And so we want to give them options. Otherwise, if we just pound them on this product that they apparently didn't want, we might lose them. Now, let's go over the abandoned cart flow. The abandoned cart flow has some of the highest converting emails in our entire account. And it's for people who have added something to cart. So really, when you think about it, they're just one click away from purchasing. So for this flow, I build it with 4 emails similar to the browse abandonment. And then actually the bonus flow that I was going to tell you about is actually the checkout flow. And really what we do is we do almost the exact same content. We just add a different trigger in Klaviyo. And so in Klaviyo, the trigger for the abandoned cart flow is going to be added to cart, but they didn't check out and didn't purchase. The abandoned checkout flow trigger is going to be that they added to checkout, but they didn't purchase. So it's just one step down. They're 2 different triggers, but you'll get way more traffic, way more shots on goal with people if you have both of these live. So let's dive into the content and strategy behind the abandoned cart flow and the abandoned checkout flow. Very similar to the other abandonment flow that we went over. We've got the Klaviyo dynamic section really high up in the email so that they can see exactly what they left. And it's probably more important in this flow to be able to show them what they were looking at because they're way further down the funnel. They've added to cart. They want to see maybe what the price is with shipping or with tax or whatever. So they're very interested in this, especially if it's the checkout flow. And so we have some copy that is very simple. You're one step away from a perfect smile and sweet dreams. This is a brand that helps with teeth straightening, but also helps with sleep, with airflow, stuff like that. Then we have a big CTA that says return to cart, and this is all above the fold. Now we've got some very simple objection handling or some risk reversals. You've got free shipping, you've got a 30-day money back guarantee. Then we have a bunch of benefits to why you should have this product, why you should have this among other options or versus not having anything. So this first email is very, very simple. Nothing crazy, just a reminder like we mentioned before. Next, we're going to alternate between graphic design and plain text emails here. And so this is just a check-in to see if there's anything that they could do to help them complete their purchase. We've saved your order, finish your order, and then here's some validation, some social proof. We've helped 20,000 customers all over the world, and now you get to join in. And then we also have, just in case, something went wrong, they've gotten this deep into the purchase funnel. And so if they want to reach out, if they have any issues or any questions, they can reach out. Best wishes, whatever. And this is what we do for our second email in the abandoned cart flow and the abandoned checkout flow. Email number 3 is where we give them an incentive if that's the kind of thing that your brand is cool with doing. And so with this brand, we did 15% off. They already had this code running whenever we started building this out for them. So we knew that they were okay giving up that margin. And so we make the offer very large in the hero section, and then we add the Klaviyo dynamic block, and then we add reviews. They were a little limited on good reviews in English, and so we just added one here, but I'd recommend you can add 2 or 3, and then a reminder of the code. And then we just added some more value propositions down here at the bottom. But you can really look at each of these pieces and figure out how you can make the best looking, the highest converting emails you can. And I would test different content in different locations and different flows as you see fit. But regardless, setting this up will do very well. Lastly, email number 4 for the cart and checkout flows is just a last chance reminder of the discount or the incentive, whatever you offer. And so we've got some more social proof. We've got happy customers that have left 5-star reviews, a reminder of the code, and then a link to finish the order. And then for these guys, just because customer support, they have a lot of questions, their order process is a little bit more complicated, we had a customer support link right there. And so for this flow, this is what I recommend. And then you can add to it as you see fit. Whenever you're running campaigns, if you had angles that run well, that make a lot of sales, you can try putting them in here because maybe they're compelling, maybe they're convincing. It's just worth adding and testing out, see how they go. And if you're interested in a bigger deep dive into all of these abandonment flows, there are 3 right here. I actually have another abandonment flow that I go over in a separate video on my channel. That link is also going to be in the description if you want to check that out. Now, here we are at flow number 4, the post-purchase flow. So most brands underutilize the post-purchase flow when it comes to retention and getting repeat purchases. They think that all they need to do is give a thank you and that they've won the battle. But the reality is the first email somebody gets after purchasing is most likely going to have the highest open rate out of any email that you send. People really want to know that the order went through, and then they also want to see if there are any instructions moving forward. And so they're going to open it. So the real question is, what do you do with that attention? Let me show you what you should be doing with that attention. So right off the bat, looking at this flow, what you should be doing, the moment that they purchase, they need to get an email directly from the co-founder, founder, e-com director, marketing director, somebody in your business. I'd recommend the founder. And what we do is we segment this out based on how many times they've purchased. And so if they've purchased once, they'll get this email, twice, get this email, 3 times, 4 times. And on their 4th email, they become part of our VIP program, which is down the road. It's not that difficult to do, but not one of the core 5 that I would recommend right off the bat. So I'm going to run you through this real quick. So post-purchase email number 1, what this is going to be is gratitude that they gave your brand a shot. Gratitude that they, are taking a step, a leap of faith, because that's what it is in e-commerce, is they're going to try something based on recommendations, how compelling your offer is, and what other people have said about your brand, but they don't have any experience firsthand yet. And so what you're doing here is welcoming them into the fold and then telling them that if they have any questions, they can, email you here or call you here. And then here's what I recommend. In the PS section, you just say, if you want to add more, whatever, to your setup, to your car, whatever, to your backpack, you can do so here. And you just have a very chill, a very backstep call to action, and this converts super well. We'll see 3 or 4% conversion rates in this email, and they've already purchased. Now, if I can explain why this works, it's really difficult to get that first purchase. And I'm sure you guys understand that for a lot of brands, it feels like climbing a mountain to convince somebody to buy, especially for younger brands that don't have as much proof. And so say you have somebody climbing this mountain and you finally get them to the top and they've purchased. Now what? Are you just going to be like, okay, we won, and then you're going to let them fall down the mountain again? No. Whenever they're on top of the mountain, you need to maximize their value. You need to get as much out of them as possible. You've already convinced them. You've already handled their objections. They've already seen social proof. And so it's hey, while you're here, you might as well double down. And guess what? A lot of people are cool with it. A lot of people like it. So that's what we do here. For email number 2 on their second purchase, it's more wow, you're legit. You're really here. You're with us. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for choosing us again. It's customers like you who keep our brand sharp. And then always, I would say, just recommend the support line just in case there's anything going on. And then I literally copy and pasted the same PS section. If you want to add more apparel or gear to your setup, you can do so here. And once again, you're going to get a lot of conversions on this email just with this simple CTA. Now, email number 3, if they've purchased 3 times. So for us, generally speaking, our VIP program starts around 4 or 5 purchases depending on the brand. And so for the email before that purchase, what we'll do is we'll say wow, you're really legit. You're awesome. You're showing us that you're a part of, our ICP. This is your 3rd order with us. And that's something we don't take lightly. You're officially 1 purchase away from unlocking VIP status with early access to drops and exclusive deals and discounts. discounts. And we normally keep the VIP system pretty simple with a few things per quarter, but people like it. It's worth it. Support line. And then in the PS section, here's what you say, and you can copy this. You can literally copy these emails. They'll be done for you and they'll print. PS section. Like I said, you're one purchase from VIP. If you want in now, you can place your 4th order here. And that's it. And we've seen this email get 7 to 10% conversion rates, meaning for every 10 people that buy for a 3rd time, one of them's going to buy. So there you go. That one's solid. And then for our VIP email or whatever, this is your post-purchase 4th purchase. You just place your 4th order. That means you're a VIP. Go into a little bit of detail. And then we add another PS section here. So this email won't have as high of a conversion rate, especially because they're also in the VIP flow at this point, but it's still really good and really helpful. Next, what we like to do is a mix of a few things. So this one right here is cross-selling. So hey, you've already ordered some gear. Here are complimentary items that you should purchase. And we add reviews here because it helps roll over the trust that they've already had and just keeps things nice and smooth with more testimonials. Next, we have a your gear is on the way announcement. There's not much of a CTA up front. We can't say your gear is on the way, shop now. You know, that's kind of weird. If you have a shipping system that they can monitor their shipping, you can set that up in Klaviyo here. Then we do just a little bit more cross-selling. These are a little bit copy heavy, and then a CTA to shop all gear. And for this 4th email, what we do is any sort of like how to or how to get the most out of your products. And so if you have a supplement, it could be recipes, easier ways to take it, habit stacking. This is rough weather apparel. This one specifically is for non-rain gear. And so it just shows you, here's how you wash it to make sure that your, $500 jacket doesn't get ruined your first time washing it. So just some stuff like that. They have some apparel care products, or they can shop more apparel. Lastly, we'll do a social media CTA. These guys are active on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And all we're doing is trying to get them to immerse themselves in multiple platforms. They become even more loyal to the brand. Simple CTA. And this one actually works really well. We get a lot of Instagram followers and YouTube subscribers from this. And then for the last email here, it's a plain text email from the founder, or for this one, it's an ecom director, where we say, hey, you've had a few weeks to break this in. So we're sending this, we're waiting a couple weeks, 14 to 21 days after purchase, depending on how long it takes to ship, where they're able to use your product. And so you want to ask them, hey, what do you think? As you've discovered, we build every piece for a reason, to perform under pressure, whatever it is that you're doing. If your gear has delivered, meaning if it has done what you thought it would do, we'd be honored if you took a minute to leave us a review. And so this is how we automate gathering reviews and testimonials, which, as you can tell, is a big part of our strategy when it comes to marketing. And here's the important thing. We keep it about the people that are like them. So it's not for us. It's not so we can make more money. It's for the next athlete, the next hunter, the next operator, whatever, for the next mom, for the next dad, for the next, cook, whatever, that needs to find the right product. This is going to help them do it if you believe this is the right product. So it'd mean the world to us if you left a review here. And if you want to, what you can do is offer a discount if they leave a review. And so you can set up a specific flow for that if you want to, or you can just keep it like this. And this works really well too. And so I recommend setting up this exact post-purchase flow. You can segment out the care guide, or, how to get the most out of your product. You can segment that email out by what kind of product it is. And then I recommend segmenting out how many times they've ordered. And so now I'm going to show you exactly how we do that for this brand. And so here we have the post-purchase flow. We're going to dive into it. I'm going to show you exactly how we make sure that nobody gets the wrong email. Right here, we've got purchase number 1, purchase number 2, purchase number 3, and then purchase number 4 is in the VIP flow. But if you don't have a VIP flow, you just put it right here and it would reconnect. What you do is you start off with a conditional split, and it says placed an order equals 1 over time. And if they say yes, they'll go right here. If they say no, they'll go down to the next conditional split. Then it says placed order equals 2 over all time. And if that's the case, it'll go here. Now, if you're worried about, well, how do I keep somebody from getting this email and then in this email? What will happen is that every single contact will get put through every single split, but on their account, their purchase equals 3. It's a specific set number or whatever it is. And so it'll be asked all these questions. Say you're a person who's bought 3 times. Have you bought once? No. Have you bought twice? No. Have you bought 3 times? Yes. Have you bought 4 times? No. And so they'll only get 1 email. Then they all go through here, and then we've split up between rain gear and not. Then they all go through here. They get the final 2 post-purchase emails. And that's what we do. Last but not least, we have the sunset flow. This is flow number 5. So this flow does 2 super important things at once. 1, it cleans up your list. And 2, it helps lower your Klaviyo bill. Let me explain real quick. Klaviyo charges you based on how many active profiles you have in your account. Not how many campaigns you send or how many profiles you send to, but how many active profiles you have. So if you've got 10,000 people who haven't opened or clicked or engaged with your emails in the last 6 months, but you're still paying for them, that's a waste of money. And it's kind of hard to manually go through and see how many people are doing this. So the sunset flow finds these people, gives them an opportunity to stay subscribed. And if they don't take that opportunity, it will help us automate suppressing them. So they come off your billable lists, your costs go down, your deliverability goes up, and your engagement rates go up as well. And we normally keep this one pretty simple. So right here, we really only do like 2 emails. Yeah, so the first one's very simple. It's like, are you still making masterpieces? Or do you still want to get emails from us? Are you ignoring us? You can be funny with it, whatever you'd want. Or we want to be a part of your journey, but only if you want us there. So tell us, should we stay in touch or do you need some space? And then you can either angle this as just a click here to stay subscribed, or you can give an option like this where keep it coming will link to your website, and I need space, we'll link to the unsubscribe link. And then the second email, this will be a few days later. This is basically your last shot at getting them to stay. You just throw them a discount, something you're comfortable with, give them some product recommendations. And basically, if they don't engage with these emails or they unsubscribe, obviously, what's going to happen at the end of the sunset flow is they'll be added to a list that you are then able to go through and suppress on a monthly basis or weekly basis, bi-weekly, whatever it is that you want to do, and makes everything quite a bit easier. All right, guys, those 6 flows are the perfect start to getting an awesome email strategy that will get you up to generating 40 to 50% of your revenue from email alone. But flows are only half of that strategy. Sending 3 to 4 educational non-discount campaigns per week is just as important as flows. These are what keeps your list engaged between purchases, builds trust, and gets them back onto your website and back into those flows you just built. So if you want us to build out all of these flows, along with a couple others that we only build out for our brands, as well as run campaigns and fully manage email strategy for your brand, just click the first link in the description to book a call with me. I'm going to audit your brand, give you 3 to 5 quick wins, and give you a complete roadmap to making email your highest ROI channel. See you in the next one.